This is the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone on a Wednesday night on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta, and we transition into the Patriot Fan Zone. I've got Dylan Thomas.
Yes, sir.
We have several Thomases.
I was going to say, I had to check with Coach to make sure you weren't related to all the Thomases.
No, sir, I'm not.
I know their dad from back when he was a lot younger and I was a lot younger. He's won a couple Super Bowls. I did not, so I've watched a lot of Super Bowls. And Joe Sexton, my good friend, who I missed talking to last week. Parker came in and filled in. Parker's fired up about the basketball season.
He is. They're going to get rolling here pretty quick, and, basketball's here.
Parker's fired up about the golf season, too. He said, I'm excited about basketball, but I'm excited about golf, too.
Yeah, he's going to get a little break from golf, once he gets rolling into basketball, and I'll probably try to help out if I need to somewhere over there. I've been to one or two of those golf tournaments. So.
Yeah, you kind of know your way around.
Yeah. So,
and you also brought in a guy who knows, Cord Wilburn, who knows a little bit about golf, too.
Cord's done a great job so far, and he's just going to keep on going. So he's a lot better golf coach than I ever was. So he's
I think Coach forgot that there's a big trophy in the case at the new high school. Dylan, what else? What other sports do you play? Or is football?
I play baseball too.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you were part of a little bit of success at the end of last year as well.
Yes, sir.
I ran into Coach Lamar. I told you last week he was setting up some Rudy's Barbecue. Didn't offer me any, but I saw him with some Rudy's Barbecue.
Yeah, I think he had quite a bit of that barbecue down there.
Yeah, he did. There's plenty of leftovers.
He just, Coach, he's just kind of nonchalant. Just, there's our trophies. We won a few games, and that's helped you guys. A lot of things have helped you guys this season. Playing Borger 2 weeks ago was not something that helped you, Joe. And we're not going to talk too much about it.
Yeah, we've expunged that one out of the memory banks, and we're ready to roll on.
I'll say the score one time, and then we'll never speak of it again.
Okay, I'm not going to
Patriots lost 54-23 2 weeks ago, coming off of just a great dramatic win against Perryton the week before. The cool thing in a 4 or 5 team district, though, and we talked about this earlier today, Joe, is that now all you have to do is figure out win one more game, and you're in pretty good shape to get to the playoffs. Right. That's the good news. The scarier news is you get to face the best team in your district. Right. I don't think anybody would dispute
we knew it. We knew at some point they were going to come knocking, and here we are. So
Estacado, 7 p.m. Friday at Patriot Stadium. Dylan, how long have you been playing football in the Lubbock area?
I've been playing ever since I was like a little kid, playing YFL.
So you've played against Estacado at some level or one of their middle schools. You guys know what the task at hand is. That's as athletic a team as you're going to face, and they're on a roll. Coach and I have already talked about this, so I'm not going to make him talk about it more. I don't want to say it's David and Goliath, but you guys are the underdog in this one.
Yes, sir.
What do you have to do, offensive linemen, what do you guys have to do against their defense to kind of establish some consistency?
We just got to establish the run early and just do what we do. And when we pass the ball, we got to make good plays and throw and catch, simple throw and catch.
Estacado's speed is not just on offense. They've got speed on defense as well, and they can disrupt things. One thing I mentioned to Coach is your guys have gotten, like Talon Wilcox, is just watching him, I think he's learned that not every run is going to be 15 or 20 yards, that sometimes a 3 or 4 yard run is what you want or what you're going to get. You have to kind of keep that mentality as a lineman too, that, okay, we're not going to have maybe a ton of explosive plays because of who's across the line from us. Let's just have a bunch of good ones.
Yes, sir. We just need to string good plays together throughout the game.
Defensively, Joe.
Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
There you go. Dylan may have a coaching future in front of him. Defensively, when we talked earlier today, Estacado's not the kind of team that necessarily wants to grind away and extend long drives. They want to hit home runs and grand slams. And
they've been doing that.
Yes.
They've been doing that a lot.
How do you combat that with your defense? Your defense has had their moments where they've been really good this year, but this is a whole different challenge now.
Well, this just needs to be one of those games where we are, we've talked about, making sure that we secure tackles all week and we can't miss. We have to be very exact on when we tackle, and and then we just got to get as many people to the football as we can. And you try to arm tackle these guys, it's not going to work. You're gonna have a bad night. So we've talked about that quite a bit this week. That they're an explosive team, and we just try to slow them down as best we can.
And don't let the explosions get bigger.
Right.
Dylan, are you just offense, or do you play on the other side of the ball?
I just play offense, yes, sir.
So you'll get to be a spectator to a degree. One thing Coach and I didn't talk about, you guys are playing arguably Bobby Ross, arguably one of the best players that's ever worn a football uniform in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
Quietly sometimes, but he just went over 5,000 yards. Was the HubCityPreps.com Defensive Player of the Week a few weeks ago because of what he did against Levelland. He's a guy that's probably going to play. I don't want to
somewhere.
He's going to play Division I football. Let's put it. It could be here in town, could be somewhere else. Dylan, when you think about stepping on the field against a guy that's accomplished what he has, and he's a very humble young man too, do you get caught up in that, or do you just see another guy in a football uniform?
It's just another guy in a football uniform. We just got to do what we do and do the right technique and everything, and then we'll be all right.
You're an offensive lineman. They've also got a young man named Vershandrick Smith that I'm fairly certain blocks out the sun if he's at the right angle.
He can. The field tilts his way for sure. He's a
big fellow,
and he can move. I've been impressed with how big he is, and just how when he pulls, he can get up on a linebacker pretty quick, and it's fun to watch him play.
Now, they've got a few guys, and they've got a head of steam. They have won 4 games in a row. They are 3-0, so they're in the playoffs. They're looking to clinch an outright district championship, so they've got motivation this week. But so do the Patriots. Liberty is 1-1 in district, despite the last loss. I'm not going to say the score again because they won the first game 43-40. I'll say that one.
Right. Yeah,
they have this game. They have the following Friday at Levelland. So Liberty's still in very, very much in contention to get a playoff spot in varsity season number 1. We are going to talk a lot more about what lies ahead for these Patriots and a little bit about what the bye week was like for young guys who are going through that the first time at the varsity level when we come back on the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We're going to talk more to Dylan and Joe Sexton here in a second. I want to run through the radio schedule one more time for tonight and for the week. Thursday night, huge game. HubCityPreps.com Game of the Week. I've got the wrong sheet. I've got last week's. Abilene High is at Monterey at Lowry Field, 7 p.m. Thursday. That's on 93.7 The Eagle. Friendship goes down and takes on Odessa Permian on Double T 97.3 FM. Lubbock Cooper also has a big one at Abilene Wiley right here on 100.7 The Score. Amarillo and Lubbock High play at 7 p.m. Friday at Lowry Field. That's on another network. That'll be with Mark Bro and his son. I've just completely blanked on his son's name. I can see him sitting there. The Bros. They call them the Bro Brothers. Estacado is at Liberty. Did you guys hear about that game?
We did.
That is a big one at Patriot Stadium, 93.1 Yes FM, 7 p.m. kickoff. Slayton's at Idalou on Sunny 97.7 FM. It was hard to pick a game of the week this week because there's so many big ones, and you guys are right there in that mix because of what the implications are.
I think somebody early in the year might have mentioned that us and Estacado were going to be a game of the week somewhere, but
I would imagine that somebody's going to be paying attention. I know that there's a website that'll have a writer there, and a photographer.
Well, that's good.
Coach and I have talked about this a lot. I want to get a player's perspective. This is the first time you guys have had so many firsts this year, Dylan. This is the first time you play another Lubbock team in a varsity football game. Does that hit home for you a little bit that this is where Lubbock folks will be paying a little bit more attention since it's 2 teams that don't have to travel very far to see each other?
Yes, sir. This game is just like if we next year when we play away, we won't have to travel as far, knowing that all of our road trips have been pretty far this year. And Yeah, that's going to be a big game for us tonight or tomorrow.
You know a few more guys from Estacado than you do from Perryton and Monahans, and I just asked you about one, Darren Tristan, one of the Estacado guys who's come on. He's a baseball guy, like you said you were a baseball guy. So you see these guys in different sports. Not that there's ever any trash talking in football, ever.
Oh, no, none.
But is it going to be kind of cool to look across and say, hey, I recognize these guys a little bit more than somebody you might not know from these other towns?
Yes. We've been competing against each other since like middle school days, so it's going to be pretty cool to do that again since we haven't had that chance.
I want to talk to you because the bye week was something new, and it's going to sound weird that coaches knew what a bye week was like. They'd been through it, and you guys had a bye week as a non-varsity team, but how did you have to approach the bye week kind of mentally and emotionally, especially coming off of the loss of the game that we won't ever say the score again, but knowing that you had to kind of rest and relax and let your bodies get better to get ready for these last 2 weeks? What did you guys do as players to kind of adjust to that?
We just had to focus on getting better for the next game, Estacado, and just keep our bodies fresh for the next game.
And one thing that happened, about if the timing's right, the weight room showed, or the weight equipment showed up that Monday morning?
It showed up, actually, I think they set it up Friday afternoon.
Okay.
So whenever, actually, we were ready to roll on Monday.
So when you guys got back
timing
from Borger, was everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So that's at least a nice thing to finish the night with after that drive from up there in the hinterlands in Borger, Texas. Getting that, and I don't know if the coaches time that. Sometimes coaches can time stuff. That just happened. That was just happenstance. Having that Monday when you came in, how did that kind of perk you guys up?
We're just ready to lift since we haven't lifted in a long time because we're lifting in two locker rooms downstairs, and so we're just ready to lift and get ready for the next game.
Sounds like something from Wayne's World when you're doing stuff out of your basement.
We have two locker rooms that we converted into a couple of weight rooms, and coach decided that we didn't want to go back over there anymore, so we waited until we got our stuff and came in at the perfect time.
So coaches coach, and coaches motivate, and coaches can tell you guys lift your spirits and all that. What did you guys do as players and teammates with each other to make sure that loss didn't hang around too long?
We just focused on the next game and just put back that game and just didn't really talk about it, just on what we did wrong, and we just came together as a team and just.
I think on Monday we watched a little bit of film, and then after that we were done. We put that one in the trash can and burned it, and off we go on to the next one.
Because you guys have had a lot of good moments. You had a lot of good moments 2 of the weeks before that, so there's a lot to build on. And the next built part of that process is Friday night at Patriot Stadium. Estacado comes down, I guess they'll come down I-27 and head west. For the first time, Liberty takes on another city team. That's 7 p.m. Friday. That will be on 93.1 Yes FM. We'll be back next week to talk on the High School Fan Zone. This is Randy Rosetta with 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Well, we're not going to be back until next week because we're back for one more segment. I tried to shove Joe and Dylan out the door here a little too soon. I don't know what premature something or other here, but we're back. We're going to talk for a few more minutes.
Hey, your third show of the night.
Yes.
We'll just chalk it up to that.
And I'm playing hurt this week. I think I told you that earlier. Whatever bug is going around. I usually catch whatever bug is going around being married to a kindergarten teacher, so yeah. I've been a little bit out of it. Dylan, don't breathe my fumes, please. All right. We got some stuff to talk about, though. We brainstormed a little bit. I think we've pretty much exhausted football stuff, but there's a lot of stuff going on at Liberty, including a volleyball team that still has not lost a district match in 2 years.
It's pretty remarkable.
Yes, it is, and
especially being in that district we were in last year.
Correct.
Gosh, there were some really good teams, and we had some great teams this year, and so she's got them rolling, and now we're going to start the playoffs next Tuesday night. And
she is Caitlin Anderson, who was actually on a few weeks ago, and I've talked to her a few times. She's wanting to get her team refocused. They've dominated their district so much, she was a little bit worried about her girls getting a little bit bored. Well, there ain't going to be no boredom. Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m., Moody Coliseum at ACU. They take on Brock, which is a team I believe they split with during the regular season.
So, yes.
And is a district champion from District 6. Or they
runner-up.
Okay, so they're weird playoff system now where 5A and everybody below you split in small school, big school, and it just turned out where a district champion's playing a number 2 seed instead of a number 4 seed. But your girls are really good.
They are. They'll be fine. They're gonna rally and be ready to go. I don't have any doubt about that. If you go to any of their practices, Coach Anderson stays on them in practice. There's no downtime.
I heard she was coached pretty hard in high school by one of her track coaches too.
Yeah, we were actually. Coach Cat and I were pretty nice to him.
Okay.
Back in the day, but yeah, she's a competitor. She's going to have those girls ready to go. I don't have any doubts about that.
So, Dylan, last year those volleyball girls raised the bar high because they won district. They went to the district tournament. They went 4 rounds deep. You guys get to the spring, and you did the same thing in baseball. What did that, having the volleyball team do that, set the standard probably for everybody else in the school? You guys doing it kind of helped coming into this school year. What did you learn as a baseball guy last year that helped you coming into this year about how competitive you have to be once you get to this time of year where the playoffs arrive?
Playoffs is just different. It's just like got to compete at a higher level, everything that you do, and yeah.
Intensity is just a little bit ramped up, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
As you guys, I was at, oddly enough, the only time I wasn't at your playoff series was the most intense one against Idalou. Somebody else had to fill in for me that weekend. How many baseball guys did we ever determine? It was like 8 to 10
that are playing for us.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, every one of them on that team played football last year. So, and then this year, pretty much. I'm not real sure who all is going to be on the team this year, but pretty much everybody, I think, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, are all going to be football guys too. So, yeah, just that level of competition, I think, really opened up a lot of their eyes to see. All right, either win or go home. And we're about to that point right now in football. We got to win or we're going to have to go home.
If your playoffs start a little bit early, and here with 2 weeks left in the regular season. So,
right.
Basketball guys, I know you're not a basketball guy, Dylan, but you also had some basketball guys who went through it with Parker they were in the hunt. So when we talked before the season, when I talked with you and Barry and Dwayne, you guys had a good baseline coming into this season of guys who kind of knew what to do when their juices start flowing a little bit different.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, with Coach Hicks, that situation that they got into and had to have a playoff game to get in the playoffs, once you're in that position, they don't want to be in that position again. So it's going to be he's going to have them ready to go too. Our coaching staff is remarkable from, all the boys coaches to the girls coaches. It's just it's fun to watch them. A lot of them are young. A lot younger than we are, yes. But I love their energy and I love how they coach kids.
I guess you guys enjoy how Coach Sexton coaches kids too.
Yes, sir.
Some days.
Well, and it's been better days since that game. We're not going to talk about
we're not going to
anymore.
talk about that.
But better days lie ahead. I have a feeling. I bet the football team would like to get into a situation where they're not worried about ties and point spreads and all that.
Right.
And the best thing to do is go out and win a game Friday and then go to Levelland and win a game that Friday and let that take care of itself.
And then we'll wake up that Saturday morning and we'll sort it out and see what we're going to do.
All right. Liberty is in action this week at home against Estacado at Patriot Stadium, 7 p.m. That's on 93.1 Yes FM. If I'm correct this time, I think this is now the final segment of the Patriot Fan Zone and the High School Fan Zone. If not, I'll be back after a few minutes and we'll talk some more. But I think we're going to be back next week on the High School Fan Zone. This is Randy Rosetta on 100.7 The Score.